it is important that we study this bill. It is important that we take the steps that are necessary to stop the growth of a universe of guns and handguns, which has now become the #1 type of gun used in homicides in the country.
The Trudeau government's gun buyback program and gun control legislation coming under fire. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun. Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino appearing before a Commons committee to defend the Trudeau government's record on gun control, gun safety. We know that they're involved in a number of projects, from the handgun freeze to the long gun buyback, that they claim will stop gun crime, except in every single instance, all of their projects are aimed at licensed, legal, RCMP-vetted gun owners. They're not aimed at the criminals. And this is something that Mendicino was asked about time and again when he appeared before the committee. Conservative MPs wanted to know, had his department done any studies on whether this was an effective use of tax dollars as a way to improve public safety? The answer was, well, no, we're kind of studying it now, but no. He was asked about a memo from his own department saying that international experience showed that gun buyback programs didn't work. And his response was, well, I've talked to the families of victims. Well, that's well and good. But if your program doesn't work, talking to the families of victims won't help. Mendicino was asked about his government's push to, bring in this national handgun freeze. So you can't transfer them, you can't sell them, but you're not going to have to give them up. He was asked why they decided to bring that in, and his answer was street crime with guns.
The reason that we introduced a national handgun freeze is because of the alarming trends around the increase of handgun violence, and specifically that handguns are now the #1 type of gun used in homicides. And in my opinion, Mr. Shipley, I don't know whether or not you agree with it, but that is not arbitrary, that there is a connection between the explosion of the handgun universe, which is increasing approximately 45 to 55,000 new registrations a year for the last decade, and the fact that handguns are now the #1 type of gun used in homicides. So our national handgun freeze is an effort to reverse that.
Okay, let me explain something to Minister Mendicino, a former Crown prosecutor who should know this. If you're freezing legal handguns but not doing enough at the border, well, then nothing's going to change. And we know this because 80% of the guns that are traced back to illegal shipments from the United States. That doesn't mean, by the way, that 20% are domestically sourced. It means we can't trace those ones. So most of the guns being used in crimes are coming in across the border. Yet, as was pointed out to Mendicino at committee, his government is going to be spending far more on dealing with legal licensed gun owners and trying to punish them or get their guns out of their basements, out of their gun safes, and into police hands than he will spend on effectively policing the border or dealing with street crime. This is not hyperbole. This is a reality. The government promised about $380 million over 5 years to deal with the border, but they're going to be spending billions on this buyback program. They have promised to crack down on street crime, and yet they're spending all their time with legal licensed gun owners. This is nothing but performance theater from the Trudeau government. This is their attempt to import the gun issue from the United States and turn it into the same type of wedge issue politics that Democrats use south of the border, as well as Republicans, and try and make it a permanent political football in this country for their political benefit. What it means for you and public safety is nothing will be done on the public safety side, because this is all about politics and winning the next election for the Liberals. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below, share this on social media, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you go to torontosun.com right now and hit the subscribe button, you can get 2 free months of online subscription by entering promo code LILLEY22.